As a high achiever, you're given a task, a goal, a deadline, and you take that goal and in your mind, you create a plan right off the bat, how to construct it, how to implement it, how to achieve this goal, how to get it to the finish line. And this has worked really well, right? Like this is how you've probably done everything. Well, yeah, sure. You've hit the deadlines, you've achieved the goals, you've gotten the tasks done, and you've actually probably gotten it done really well and actually early, maybe before the deadline. You were praised, you were promoted, you received the raise in your salary because of these ways that you handled the tasks, the goals, the metrics, right? The milestones that were given to you. And now, interestingly enough, you're getting these ideas in your mind's eye, this way of being that you know is available to you. You're starting to truly see the mismatch between the way your life is and the way it's playing out before you and what you really feel in your heart and in your knowing is possible for you. So you're trying to use the same strategies that got all of these goals and targets met and all the awards won, but it's not working. You might be more tired, more frustrated, and you're getting down on yourself more and you just can't figure it out. And what happens really next to me is really sad. This is when the strategies have served you so well are not working anymore, that you start to become complacent because you can't find any other tools in your toolbox to help you do what you know you really want to do. And so finding ways to make the best of what is and the best of what is here until some deadline hits like retirement or your loans are paid off or your kids are in college becomes the way you move through your day. I know it's happening to you. Rather, it's actually happening for you. And if you're willing to open your mind, I'm going to show you exactly how you can get what your heart truly desires so that you can have a life you can't make up. To do that, you got to let go. You got to surrender. You got to let God lead. And for those of us who are leaders, the high achievers, this is not easy yet. It's the only way to do this. So in this episode, I am going to break down why it's really hard for us to do this, why it's hard for us to let go and to release control. And I'm going to give you ways to shift your energy and your body into safety, into trusting your divine guidance so that you can step into this life that you feel inside of you, the woman that you know you truly are, easefully and with grace. Welcome back to Whole Human Capacity. In today's episode, this is part 4 of a 4-part series where I have outlined the exact functional, foundational steps required to have a life that is so good you cannot make it up. So part 1 was your worthy heart. What is that way of being, that way of life, that woman inside of you, that essence that you know wants to exude from you, that you know would make you so incredibly happy to live into this way of being? That is your worthy heart. Part 2, what are your current metrics of success? What is the default programming in there? What is the scorecard you're living by that you don't even realize you're living by? Part 3, let's change that. Let's have you write the rules to your game. What is the scorecard you want to live by? The scorecard that's going to add up to equaling the results that you feel in your body, that you see in your mind's eye, that you know are possible for you. And now part 4, the fun part. How to tap into this energy, right? That I know is this divine energy that is fueling your worthy heart, and how to work with it, how to harness it. This is a simple fix, right? It's simple. Stop trying to control this energy. Stop trying to figure it out. Stop trying to plan it all out. Stop trying to predict the outcome and see what end game you're going to get to. That's easier said than done. I mean, truly, really, it is so much easier said than done for people like us because our whole way of being in life as a high achiever was based on our ability to do what I just laid out for you. And here I am telling you to not do any of those things, right? It's a significant fight or flight pattern that we have used for safety. It is a protective layer that has done us wonders. And it's amazing. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's just not going to work anymore. Here's what I've noticed in my clients. They've climbed some ladder. They've been in some corporate world of whatever industry. And all of the wonderful leadership training that they have received is now coming full circle to trap them. Listen, like, I'm all about leadership. I'm about the leadership in which we are going first. We're being fully integrity to our process. We're trusting our knowing. We're following our intuition. We're being the embodiment of our gifts so that we can lead others. However, what I have found is that even with the best of intentions, this is not what gets encoded into the brain and the body of a high achiever in these trainings and in these worlds and in this type of professional environment. That this is not what the high achiever takes on as how we are to lead, right? So when you mix a people-pleasing, wired nervous system that is in constant flight and survival mode, meaning like in the grind mentality with reward for accomplishing goals, sprinkling in some terms like servant leader and deliverables and productivity and end of year targets, right? This is a recipe for that high achiever to disconnect from her body, put all of her needs to the side, go back into the feedback loop of praise over following her intuitive sense and her intuition. And then, because all of those things don't yield what she really desires, this is where the complacency sets in. This is where we start to set in like, I guess this is as good as it's going to get. Because she's never internally satisfied. Brings tears to my eyes. I know this well. This was me. Leadership training. I felt like I had won like the lottery of like, oh my gosh, they're recognizing me as a leader and getting to go to these, awesome trainings for a day at a time, stepping away from patient care, being with other colleagues, talking about something other than, quote unquote, the actual medicine of medicine. That was awesome. I got asked to lead committees and do all these things, right? And you think that this is going to equal that vision that you're getting that I've talked about in the past few episodes, where I was free and my body came first and my time was used in a way that felt good to me. And I was connected to my family and into the work I'm really doing, right? Here's the rub. We've been trained to be a leader, but that training was designed for a purpose in many ways to serve something outside of us. That's not a bad thing. We are part of a team, part of a corporation, part of, like a bigger picture, and that's not a bad thing. But it doesn't work. And so just like knowing how to grind and hustle, like I've said in past podcasts, those are skills. And you can put them in your back pocket so that if you ever get your back against the wall, you can pull it out when you need it. The same thing holds true here. This type of leadership and this way of leading and this way of taking your ideas and the energy, this worthy heart that's flowing through you, you got it. You know how to do it. And you can put it in your back pocket. And you can pull out bits and pieces of it if you need it. What I'm offering to you is if you stay in that mentality, if you stay in that definition of leadership, that likely is not what you think it is. Like if I really ask you to take a step back and get out a piece of paper and ask in real terms, what does the definition of leader mean to you? What does the definition of leadership mean to you? And not like in some, what's the right word to use? Like terms that are like amazing, right? Really like, how do I actually lead? What is that actually like in my daily life? Do I put my needs and myself first, right? If we stay in that, in the way that we've been trained to lead in a bigger corporate setting, it's not going to get you the life you really want. And I'm telling you this from lived experience. I started the Awakening Tide and led it like I led all the former committees in my physician job. I'm telling you this because I've lived it and I've watched it over and over in my clients. Because what happened for me was a huge amount of frustration, a lack of results, and a feeling like I was more lost than ever because the mismatch between what was getting stronger in my body, stronger in my knowing, was not matching what the results were being produced by the way I was leading it, the way I was moving through it. So let me just break this down for you so you can feel what I'm talking about in your body, okay? So I did this adventure race where part of it was to paddle in a canoe across the lake to an island, get some checkpoints, and then come back and finish up the race. And so if you've ever done this, if you've ever been in a canoe, when it's not on moving water, it's stagnant water, it's a lake, and you are paddling, you feel like you are going nowhere, right? Everything about this is work. You fatigue easier because there's no current underneath you. You, and if there's somebody in the boat with you, are the ones generating all the force to move that boat. And yes, at the end of the day, when you get to the other side, there's a celebration. And this is what we all do as high achievers. We get to the other side and we are literally dead because we've expended so much energy to get there. For me, this is what I did to get through med school and to get through residency. This was the energy. I call this pushing energy, where you're literally the one leading the boat across the lake, where you are the one generating all the energetic force to move that needle forward. What happens is we go into tunnel vision. We are so hyper-focused on the goal. For me, I'm looking at that one spot at the other side of the lake so that I don't lose my direction, right? So that I stay on course, because if we get off course, we expend more energy. And you have no idea what is going on around in the scenery around you. Like, you don't even perceive it because you are so hyper-focused on that. And when you get out of the boat, when you get done, you're like, oh, thank God we made it. All right, where do we got to go now? Right? And that becomes familiarity. And don't get me wrong, even as I say it, there's a part of me that's like, yes, let's go do that. And that there's nothing wrong with that. But I want to offer a different picture for you. Let's say I take this same boat and I put it on a river that has a current. So even if I do nothing, I'm moving. There is a force underneath me pulling me down the river. Every paddle stroke I take is additive. I'm not generating the inertia to move that boat. The inertia is already done for me. I'm just actually, if I'm truthful, maybe adding a little bit of force, but more so I'm actually guiding. I'm using my paddle to steer the boat down the river. Like, think about this. Think about the difference of how I'm describing these two experiences. In this scenario on the river, I actually could put the paddle on my lap and sit back and enjoy the scenery around me. My nervous system is not in hyperacute focus mode. It's settled in. It's relaxed. It's in receptive mode. When I get out of the boat, when this is done, I say, that was an amazing ride. Let's do this again. Like, this was awesome. So to let go of leadership, to let go of the idea that you've got to be the one paddling the boat across the lake, using all of your internal energy to do it, to achieve something outside of you, you have to surrender. It is releasing this egoic attachment that we have to the accolade of accomplishment. It is the death of the achiever mindset. To achieve an identity, to becoming the steward of the divine energy that's flowing through you. It really is choosing impact over achievement. And I just want to take a step back for a second and honor how unsafe this feels for many of us. For me, even as I'm thinking about this and speaking this, the question always pops in, which is, will I actually get the goal I want to accomplish? If I let go, if I surrender, if I put the paddle on my lap, if I just steer and not have to work so hard to paddle across the lake, can I get what I truly desire? And the answer is no. Nope, you won't. You won't accomplish the exact goal you think you're supposed to accomplish. Instead, something will happen that will be better than you could ever imagine. It's going to blow your mind. It's going to totally take what you thought was supposed to happen, what you thought the end game was going to look like, and blow it out of the water. Because the energy flowing through you, the energy guiding and that is the worthy hard that is giving you those GPS coordinates is far beyond our human comprehension. This is truly walking by faith, right? This is for the high achievers. This is for people like me, letting go and trusting God over myself. So what are our next steps? Like, how do we do this when we have so much of a track record and so much evidence that leadership is what gets us somewhere? I think the next step is to get honest and really ask yourself, how am I leading right now? Without judgment, without blame, with full ownership of the filter in which you probably perceive the information. If you're like me, you wanted to make people happy, maybe. You wanted to do a good job. You wanted the team to get the goal. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. But it is also a place where many times we're using the word leader and leadership against ourselves. So if there is even a component, right? Is there like this component in there about how you define leadership where you are to put your intuition and your knowing and the signals you're getting from your body to the side and put others' needs above yourself? Right? Ask yourself that question. And if you get a yes, this podcast is for you. And if we take what we've uncovered in these last 3 steps, asking yourself the question, where are you leading that is not from a place of embodying your rules that you wrote on the last podcast? So now, let's talk about stewardship. This is something that this shift, I feel, is monumental. Because the definition of stewardship is the careful, responsible management of something entrusted into one's care. What if you looked at your worthy heart as the most precious gift you have ever been given, right? Where you are entrusted with like this recipe that is so sacred and it comes with its own energy source and you don't have to generate it. And your only job is to care for it, listen to it, be the vessel it is to move through and to trust. This is stewardship. This is not controlling, not overly planning, not having expectations. Instead, it's being present. It's enjoying the ride. It's trusting that you are being guided to something far beyond what you can comprehend. So how do we support ourselves if we choose to shift into stewardship over leadership? Well, first of all, you do these 4 podcasts, right? Because to do that, you got to understand why you're doing it. If you take a step back and really tap into your worthy heart, and once you feel this energy in your body, you are going to understand how this is possible for you to not be in push energy anymore and to be in pull, to allow that river, that current to pull you down, pull you through, because it is so loving, so deep, so powerful. And your nervous system is going to start to feel safe and trusting of your intuitive guidance. Then you're going to uncover your default metrics. Right? You're going to see the scorecard that you're playing by. They didn't even realize that you thought were the rules of the game. And then you're going to rewrite your rules. So if you've truly done this and you're truly living and embodying the rules you designed for your life and you follow those rules, you're going to be in stewardship energy because there's a match there. How we desire to live from our heart and from our true intuitive sense and our essence is aligned with stewarding this worthy heart energy flowing through us. They're one and the same. So the beautiful part about this process is that as you've walked it over these past 3 episodes and you're kind of putting it all together now, you've given yourself the playbook, the how to do this in your own words, from your own heart, through your own lived experience of what you know is coming through you, right? And so this is how you set your life up to live in stewardship energy and to rewrite and unwire all the things that we've kind of picked up along the way of our career fields and everything about what a leader looks like, especially for us women. You know, it's very easy to take what may not have had the tenets of how many of us have perceived it. But if we're honest with ourselves, right, we take in information through the filter, through the glasses, however you want to look at it, that we're wearing. And if we're wearing glasses that somewhere in that lens says, you are more worthy when you put others above yourself. You are more praised and accepted and loved by your community when you do what we tell you to do and you do it the way we tell you to do it versus the idea, right? If you had a different set of glasses on, stewardship glasses that are like, no, within me is this divine conduit that is guiding me in a way that is so profoundly loving and kind and so aligned with my values and what I'm here to do and how I choose to be as a human and show up, that I embody that. That is stewardship. And through stewardship and through that embodiment, that is where true leadership comes. Because that is magnetic. People crave that. And I guarantee you can think of one or two people in your life right now that have that energy, that you're like, I just want to be around them. There's something about them. There's something that's different. That is the magnetic energy that happens when we trust ourselves and our knowing and what's coming through our intuition over everything else, right? When we play the game by our rules. So if this is lighting you up, if there's something in here, you're like, man, this is me. I am leading from a place of people pleasing. I am taking these terms that have been given to me and reorganizing them in the way that is not helpful to me. And it's actually disconnecting me from myself, from my family, from what I desire. And I choose to rewrite that story. Go back and listen to these episodes, number one. And number two, check out the free gift in the show notes because I've put together for you an interactive guide for you to create what I call your zero hustle plan, where you can take these steps we've walked in real time to harness what comes through you, document them, and create a plan to create your rule book, to give you the way forward of how you're going to now take action steps in this stewardship energy. Because in stewardship energy, we get to have so much fun. We get to enjoy the ride. We get to take the paddle and take a break. We get to paddle when we want, right? Like there's just this beautiful part that allows us to truly ebb and flow in the process, in the way that we were designed, each of us uniquely, to ebb and flow, which I think is the secret sauce. When we can drop into that space, when we become so aligned and connected with that, when we've unwired the fight or flight programming, the protective layers that have said that's not allowed and that's not safe and you're not going to make it, and we have done that, suddenly what happens is you really feel the current underneath you. Your energy moves so much more efficiently. You start seeing the everyday miracles unfold before you, and you truly are literally saying all the time, oh my gosh, you cannot make this up what just happened. This is what's available for all of us. It is available in stewardship energy. And I know you can do this, and you are doing this. So keep going. You got this, and it's go time. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for being with me today. I truly value your presence, your time, your energetic connection, and your desire and your willingness to tap into your worthy heart, to really rewrite your rules and your playbook for how you desire to live your life. And now for wanting to step into stewardship energy. And if this is something that lights you up, that you're ready, that you want to dive into more, this is the thing that makes me the happiest in the world, is to support people who choose to walk this journey. So if this is you, reach out to me. Email me at erica@theawakeningtide.com and I'll reach out to you. We'll set up a time to chat. We'll explore what's moving through you. And by the end of that time, you are going to come away with a plan and an anchor into where you know you're going so solidly that you are going to find the steps become easier and easier. And above all, if this really resonated with you, please follow along, or pass this along to somebody who you know would really enjoy hearing this message today.